Welcome to the Man of Thought, and I hope you are ready for today's news. And I have a lot of information I want to share with the world or with my people. I hope certain people will be joining me right now on live soon. We have a lot of stories to share, and these stories are always going to be very important. Before I give out some time to wait for my people to come in and then we can start the conversation, I would want to lay emphasis on the things that I have to discuss today. Now, part of the things I'll be discussing today, one of them has to do with Pastor Jeremiah and his congregations versus his churches making a decision to sue very dark man. Secondly, I'll be talking about the Igbos and the situations of the Igbos currently and what people have been saying about the Igbos in Nigeria. Thirdly, I'll be talking about something within the MMA world, which involves Alex Pereira's allegations that are being set on him, or we call it probably accusations. Fourthly, I'll be talking about how you can be avoiding a lot of real estate organization. On today's also, the fifth one is I'm going to be talking about Regina Daniels. And the sixth, I'm going to talk about Pastor Femi Lazarus, who talked about church extinction. And I think we will be able to have a lot of conversation regarding this particular stuff. And lastly, I will talk about why Nigeria or many African lawyers are currently avoiding marriage. In fact, a lot of them have been asked, why are you not marrying? And they had a lot to say. So I'll be using this moment right now to wait a little bit to see if people are going to be joining me live. And if they don't, then I will most likely will continue with the conversation that we need to have today. So welcome everyone. And I'm expecting people to join me right now on live so we can start the conversation for today. You see, I for decide to play song, but in today's world, if we play any music, we're gonna get issue. So for us not to have copyright strike and the rest of it, I want to respect myself according to myself. Oh, story. Well, I don't know why people are not tuning in yet. Should I proceed? I'm talking to myself actually, because it is when people join your line that you know if you are actually having conversation. Let me turn on my top messages and everything that I'll be having. Members and super chat message, okay? Um, yeah. Oh, please let's give me a little bit of 1 minute, 4 minutes from now, or 4 minutes, 30 seconds from now. If people are not joining me, I'm going to continue with the conversation. And trust me, you're going to enjoy it. So relax. If you haven't subscribed while you join, please do subscribe to the channel as it helps the algorithm of the Man of Thought. We have a lot of stories to share. Yeah. Let me start even asking, how did today go? How is everything? Before we continue on the conversation, if you're joining me, welcome to the Man of Thought. Those who haven't subscribed, you are advised to subscribe to the Man of Thought because he has a lot to share with you guys. Not just for today's episode, but for subsequent episode that will be coming up. And we have 7 topics that we are going to be looking at today. And so I want to give out some time for us to look into this together. Hopefully, certain people will be joining me soon on live. And I might be doing something a little bit different today for my chats. And I don't want to sound to be like I'm greedy or stingy, but I have to do certain things to make sure that we can have adequate information. I think, oh, this is already 4 minutes. Then I have to start the conversation. First of all, welcome to the Man of Thought. We have a lot of things to discuss. Like I read earlier, we are going to be talking about the Pastor Jeremiah suing Very Dark Man. We secondly need to talk about the Igbo state. We need to talk about something about the MMA for those people who watch UFC. We're going to talk about the MMA live, which is Alex Pereira, one of the best knockout artists right there, and his accusations of ladies telling him that he forcefully did this and that. And then fourthly, we talk about avoiding real estate. Fifth, we're going to talk about Regina Daniels and the attacks on her and the complaint she also came up with. The sixth one is Femi Lazarus speaking about the extinctions of churches and what the church needs to do about it. And the seventh is when we talk about lawyers, African lawyers avoiding marriage. So let us start with the real one. Number one, Pastor Jeremiah sues very dark man. Now, when it comes to the aspect of Very Dark Man, it's a guy that I love because he's doing something that most Nigerians do not have the effrontery or the confidence to do. And with that, I respect the individual for doing something different. I would even call him a real good activist, but I think there's few things that he needs to put up together so he can be a better thinker. Just to be an activist to speak for people doesn't mean that you are mostly correct in what you say. You need to improve the way you think as a person when you start having certain responsibilities that has to do with people's issues in your life. And you must be very careful in how you direct the youth. So on that aspect, I think he has a lot of work to do. But this individual has many times that he has to go online and he speaks his mind and the rest of it. He has also been talking about certain churches, certain pastors trying to defraud people and the rest of it. And then he touched about 2 weeks ago, he was talking about a pastor, Pastor Jeremiah, who was telling his members that they need to buy soap, they need to buy a key, they need to buy this. And then when they buy these soaps from him, the soap is going to make them wealthy. And I also have a different objection to such a statement. And I was like, if a pastor is telling you that he would give you soap to bathe so that you can be wealthy, why not you just tell the pastor to use that soap to bathe, and then when he makes the money, let him give it to you as the members? That makes a logical sense. Because what if you buy the soap and the soap is so expensive and you don't have money and you have to borrow, and and peradventure the soap did not work? Who is going to refund your money? So if there's no guarantee, that's a bad deal. And then after this whole protest is going on, that the world is crying and the rest of it, Pastor Jeremiah then sued Very Dark Man. And what is the reason? Why did Pastor Jeremiah Church, the soap producer, why did they make a decision to sue Very Dark Man? Now, Very Dark Man played certain clips of Pastor Jeremiah. And when he played this clip, he showed a video. Initially, they sent one of their boys who came up to tell people that, oh, Pastor Jeremiah has made a decision and the church to sue Very Dark Man and the rest. I was like, this is a problem that me, I don't know about too, because Very Dark Man subsequently maybe is supposed to focus on national issues, but it kind of go through national issues and it goes into individual organizations and the rest of it. And I think he should be able to do that. That's what it feels like doing. He has the energy to do it. I also have the energy to do something similar like that. So when this individual is attacking and saying whatever he's saying, he said they've sued Very Dark Man. Then Very Dark Man played certain videos of Pastor Jeremiah. Pastor Jeremiah showed where he went to a mountain and he was praying in that mountain. And when Pastor Jeremiah was praying in the mountain, he asked God that God should give him keys from heaven, the keys that will unlock open doors for people to become wealthy and the rest of it. This is live on 4K. This man prayed, thunder began to strike, and he was recording the video. Thunders begin to strike and the rest of it, and then God spoke to him. God spoke to Pastor Jeremiah live. All of us, we heard it with our ear. All of us, we heard this with our ear. If you can go right now and go to Very Dark Man page. You can see some of the video where they said they are suing Very Dark Man, and you will see the video there. The Very Dark Man played that video. The pastor was praying on the mountain, and all of us heard God speak to Pastor Jeremiah. Now the question is, what did Pastor Jeremiah say? Before we talk about what God told Pastor Jeremiah, the voice I heard was like Big Brother Africa. If you have not watched Big Brother Africa, I will urge you to at least branch through the channel Big Brother Nigeria or Big Brother Africa or whatever, where they say, Chinely, you have to move from one room to the other for your order and come back here right now. And I recognize Big Brother Nigeria's voice. And then we hear God speaking like Big Brother Nigeria audio. And he spoke to Pastor Jeremiah. Here's what he says. He says, Jeremiah, I am going to give you the keys that you are going to give to the people, and they are going to have open doors. Then before we know, thunder begin to strike live. Heavens. This man, they carry camera and they show us heaven. As thunder was striking and moon was flowing and everything was happening at the same time, before we know, we just saw keys everywhere. Trust me, Pastor Jeremiah collects keys from God. The keys look like what welder did. All these normal welder who used to weld things, all those keys look like it, in my own observation. But let's give him a benefit of a doubt that God gave him a key. I was like, why did God give him a key that looks like what an ordinary welder, even not a professional welder, would even do? And there was keys everywhere. By Sunday, this man will sell all those keys. Nothing is for free. He prayed to God. God gave him the key without charging him, but he will charge his members to give them the key because the key will open doors for them. And God told him on live that I have given you the keys, my son. I have given you the keys that you are going to use to open the doors of your people. I have listened to your prayer, Big Brother Niger. I never knew God had such a voice. With that being said, because Very Dark Man said that Pastor Jeremiah was making fake miracles, the same people who believed in God, the same people who can count on God, that God can do everything, they did not put Very Dark Man to the hands of God. What they decide to do is to charge Very Dark Man to court. That was where I start baffling, like, wow. You speak to God. God listens to you. You have the power. God listens to everything you say. How come you did not report Very Dark Man to Almighty God? Why would you sue Very Dark Man to court? This is how I have come to see Nigerian pastors. Whenever there's a situation, they pray to God for all kinds of problems, but whenever you offend them, they go to the police station immediately. Oh, Toby and Tribe, welcome. Good evening. It's been a while I hear from you. Welcome. So that is the situation, and I ask myself, why? Why is it that all these churches in Africa, most of the time, we always arrest people, pastors will arrest people, and they will charge those people to court? Why are pastors used to this? It's like God does not listen to them when they have issues with people, individual issues. It's like God only listens to them when they want to perform miracles. That's my own opinion. So Very Dark Man will be going to court very soon. This is live. What I'm telling you is live. So I call it's an update news. So he will be going, and I think they are going to start their case there. That is a lesson for some of us who don't have the money to go to Federal High Court, Supreme High Court, and all the whole courts on earth. Be careful with all these pastors, because they can perform miracle and they will report you to court rather than report you to God. With that being said, anyone who is going to church in Nigeria or Africa, good luck to you. I would never ever believe in the religion practice in Nigeria. Religion being practiced in Nigeria. Then that move us to the next one. I saw this conversation going on with the Igbos. I will just quickly brush on this. Um, when we realize what is going on with the Igbos do not have the ability to be part of the political people in Nigeria, and I think that's really terrible. But with that being said, when we look at other things that Igbos are being deprived of, I am a Yoruba as a person, but I think that we as human beings have grown, and our consciousness should have grown beyond we being tribal in the way we think. So Yoruba, Igbo, Hausas, I think that we should be one, and we shouldn't be looking at ourselves with all these differences. We should have been able to kick that tribal thing off our brain. How come will you go to a Yoruba, an Igbo land, and there's no airport in the eastern areas? So why won't these people agitate to leave the country? They do not have the opportunity to go into the political space. They do not have the opportunity to do a lot of things in the country. Hello, Miss D. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining. Wow. Thanks for joining. So the question is this: why don't they have the opportunity, or why are they not given the opportunity to do a lot when these individuals are doing much within the country? It is a painful thing. I, as a Yoruba, I rarely go to the eastern area. I've only been there maybe once or twice in my life. That was when I went to Owerri, when I was staying with someone at Lekki, Prince Lawrence or so. And I stayed in Owerri for over maybe 3 weeks or so. But for them to be deprived of the right things when they are part of the Nigerian system. Now, some people have a lot of opinions, and part of the things that people say they are actually afraid of is the idea that um, if the Igbos are being given the political powers, they most likely would embezzle a lot of money. Oh, so bad for me today. I didn't charge this thing. Well, can I do something right now? Please pardon me. Um, Let me make a little bit of adjustments. Yeah. Okay. For those people be joining me live, please do join me live on the Man of Thoughts. Yoruba will say, "Ta ba tori isu jepo, atori epo jesu." I found another alternative. We shall never run out of ideas. You see, certain people have already joined before I came back. So that's good. Where's my book? Yeah. So what I've been saying is that as a Nigerian, I do not think that the Igbos have been treated fairly. If you cannot even give them the political opportunities to survive or to flourish in the land, but these people are productive, why can't they be helped in their place? Why can't we give them certain positions? There's no contract that is being given to them. And these people most likely would want to depart from Nigeria. That is what I think. Leaving that alone, I just think that will be settled. And the other thing I would just touch on briefly also is the aspect of Alex Pereira. I think if anyone is going into the UFC, if you watch UFC, MMA, and the rest of it, you will know this new guy, kickboxing guy, Alex Pereira, and he had a unique fight with Israel Adesanya and the rest of it. There's an accusation on him currently, and the accusation was that certain ladies came to his place, to his gym house, and the accusation was he forcefully kissed a lady. And here is it. I do not support the idea of any guy doing anything stupid or crazy, but I'm just like, in the Western culture, it is not funny. Why is it that every single time ladies sue these people, and this is what they bring to the public every single time? Ladies are suing this, ladies are suing that, just for what? Kiss? Then you hear this, and yet you hear that. And that's like, is it not discouraging that it's like you can't even associate yourself with certain individuals, because when you do, you're just going to be in trouble? These people are not kickboxers. They are not fighters. According to the footage that they showed, was that these particular people were training, and the girls who came to pay them visit were not training. They are not kickboxers. They are not anything, but they came at the same time. We start seeing all kinds of accusations. It's like, it's not fair. And I think I don't have any opinion on it, because America can never listen to my voice through this particular episode of my video, or even if, regardless of what I say. But I think if perhaps there are any African guys who is going there to do anything, you just have to be careful with ladies in the Western culture. That move off to the next fourth one. We have to talk about avoiding real estate organization. First of all, congratulations to me that I got monetized yesterday. And I think I have not officially celebrated it. I don't know how to celebrate. I'm not used to celebration. I don't go for party. I don't jubilate. I'm not used to any of all those things. But why it matters a lot to me was simply because I made a decision earlier this year that I was going to supersede the real estate organization who tried to put me in jail. They didn't even try. They successfully put me in jail, but God find his way to uplift me and take me out of jail. So congratulations in one way. But I made a decision also that I was going to go beyond them on my subscribers, on and I'm going to go to a particular level. At the end of the day, I'm going to expose them for who they are, because they are truly terrible. Just like Donald Trump. These people are opening our borders. They are terrible. Do you know what I say? These real estate organizations are very terrible with what they've done to me and what they've done to a lot of landlords. I don't know if I call their name because we are still going to court, but regardless of the fact, a lot of Nigerians right now needs to be aware, and a lot of people who are in diaspora need to be very careful if you're trying to invest in Nigerian real estate. There's a brother of mine who might most likely be joining me on my live show, King's Court TV, which is we once spoke about the idea of fraudulent real estate. There's a possibility we might dive into it this Saturday. If not, either me, Olubode, or somebody else will be having a live show. So I don't know what this Saturday is going to be holding. But what I can say for a fact is that there are too many adverts on real estate organization right now, and these people are fraud. This is not beyond this is beyond you just saying that you want to have a real estate, you think real estate is trustworthy, and you want to go there and have good conversations, and then they are going to show you one property, and there's going to be a good contract that is going to bond you guys. Most likely, whenever there's what do they call it, whenever there's a contract, the contract most likely supports the real estate organization, because you are buying from them. So they do everything to defend their own part. So most likely you ask yourself also, would you want to go to court with these people? Because when you are buying a real estate from Nigerian organizations, you should be at least having the money to go to court. Because we are in that situation right now. In this particular real estate, certain individuals have paid for developmental fee. I refuse to pay developmental fee. I paid for the house, I paid for every other thing, but developmental fee, I refuse to pay them. Because when I look at the products they use in building the house, PVCs are falling, walls are breaking. I had to take part of my money to renovate and to do everything in the house, build the fence, do the gates, floor the ground, everything. It's just like I could have built the house from scratch. Why would I buy a property and then I have to start all over renovating property? That is the reality of most Nigerian real estate. There are few that have integrity, but as time goes on, possibly this Saturday, I'm going to be sharing that with you. So be careful. If you have a brother in diaspora who is interested in investing in Nigerian real estate, it's better they get a land, or it's better before you get it, you do a lot of due diligence. More information will be coming that regarding this particular stuff either this week, probably by tomorrow. I might have a time and work on this particular stuff. Then the fifth one is about Regina Daniels. Regina Daniels, we have, I think I touched on it yesterday. People were complaining and the rest of it about Regina Daniels and the rest, how she has been coming out, a very young lady who got married to a very elderly man. When I talk about an elderly man, this is not the difference of age of maybe 20 years or 30 years. This is an age difference of maybe 50 years, more than 50 years. And a lot of people are like, she did it because it was necessary and she was an actress doing fine in her career. Why would she get married to a man who is so old, Nedwoko, who is so old? But both of them, they love themselves, so that doesn't give us the right to infringe on their love affairs. But the man himself was into politics and is a senator. And this particular lady was now trying to, she has given birth and the rest of it. She's not the first wife, not the second wife, not the third wife, not the fourth wife. She's maybe like the seventh wife or sixth wife. And all the wives are still living from different countries and the ones with him and the rest of it. So she's more likely the sixth or the seventh wife. And now this young lady comes online and she wants to talk about protests, whatever is going on with the protests. Let us hold Nigeria. Let us hold Nigeria and make sure Nigeria becomes great. We shouldn't fight Russian stuff and this. And everyone is like, what right do you have? You're already doing fine in your life. You're married to a very wealthy person. Why are you acting like you care about the masses when the masses are going through hardship? Here was a point. A point is that even if I'm so wealthy, even if I'm so rich, even if I can never suffer, but I have workers that I need to increase their payments because I work for they work for me. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Let me finish with that and then I will talk about what Toby Tribe says. And she said, I have to increase the salaries of my workers and they have families, and so if things are expensive for them, that makes life difficult. I said, how does life become difficult for Regina Daniels? Senator salaries are going to go up, so why should you care about the Nigerians and the masses? You never cared about them. You have just been making videos while you walk around and you show the flamboyant cars and the great things you have been doing with your life. Yeah, welcome Steve Dondada. Welcome to the Man of Thought. We are going to be touching on many things, but we have to round up this particular story. So it's kind of disgusting to a lot of Nigerians that you ain't going through what we are going through. You never had the back of any Nigerians, but right now that you see that there's an issue going on in the country, you most likely want to take advantage and you want to be a role model as a young girl who is in her teens or 18 most likely, and you got married to someone who is older than you with not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 30 to 40 years old. Maybe it's just an allegation. Maybe I don't know what I'm saying, but according to what we know, that's what is on ground. So Regina Daniels is supposed to keep her mouth quiet, and then when the world is backlashing her, she says the world is backlashing her and she cares about the country. And so I don't know what her problem is. I think she's supposed to just focus on her family, but maybe she has a career. Keep quiet. Sometimes in life, when people don't want you to talk, you just keep your mouth quiet. I used to listen to a man called Jordan B. Peterson, and here's what Jordan B. Peterson says, and I love to keep that man's words whenever I say something unique. He says, when you are speaking to people, and every time you're speaking to them, they are doing something else, stop talking. Because when you speak, you are diminishing the value of your words. So same thing is applicable to Regina Daniels. When you're speaking to Nigerians, even if you have something important to say, and the people refuse to listen to what you have to say, then you don't have time to start fighting people, because when you do, They are going to crumble you with negative statements. And are you willing to go through it? Because somebody like me, I am a bulletproof. I don't know what anyone would tell me. You can't get under my skin. I do not care what you know how to say. But I am also aware that a lot of people knows what to say that will get under other people's skin. Maybe if someone goes extreme and says something negative to me, maybe I will find you. But that's not my style. But if it gets to something like that, maybe I just show myself to you and tell you how you doing, brother. So to that, I think Regina Daniels, she's not serious with her life, and let her keep her mouth shut. And if she wants to speak, let her speak, but she should also be aware of the consequence of whatever she has said. Abia the best. Welcome, sir. We are going to be touching on many things. I am about rounding up our conversation for today. The next one is Femi Lazarus. I want to touch on another pastor in Nigeria called Femi Lazarus. I've had different conversation about this individual in the past, but right now the man came up with a different story, and he talked about the problem with most churches today. What is he saying? His point is that the church that Paul the apostle or Peter actually established, most of this church has gone extinct. And what are his own reasons? He believed that most churches are not speaking out the truth, or they are not fighting back when the world is saying negative things about them. Now, he made certain valid points. Part of the valid point he made was that most pastors are destroying the church. That part of the things he said, most churches are being built. 7% of most churches that are being built are built with pastors' individual money. Now, 83% of, is it 90 something percent or 93% of most churches are built with other people's money. That means the members' money. And so most churches are poor. And then it says a lot of pastors also, the problem of their family is basically because they've gone into ministration. That means their children are corrupt. Their wife kind of regrets that if not because you are doing this particular thing, our home might most likely be fixed. Those were the points of Pastor Femi Lazarus. And he put certain blame on the church people. But when he made a comment, he also says that what they need to do is that when people say negative things about church and the rest of it, the church is supposed to stand back and fight. Because if you don't fight back, the church is going to go extinct. And the world, most likely you would hear that the government will ask people not to open church, and they begin to tax churches and the rest of it. When they speak, when the world speak, you have to come up and you defend the church. And that was where I said, Femi Lazarus, are you sure of what you're saying? When someone is a thief, how can you defend yourself when there are a lot of evidence to prove that majority of your people are thieves? Now, there is no institution on earth that is kind of filled with clean people or people who are kind of, innocent. So if there are a lot of institutions that people are not innocent in those institutions, the thing that makes those institutions to function is how many corruptions are in that institution. If the corruptions in the institution are more than the people who are doing the legal things, don't you think it is right for the government or for the people to stop that particular institution or that particular organization? If the church begins to scam people, just like I should not call it scam, to use to psychologically manipulate people, just like Pastor Jeremiah, who is selling keys that will deliver people with Big Brother Africa God speaking to him. Don't you think that despite the hardship of what Nigerians are going through, what are the contributions of the churches to the people? You are not asking yourself that question. You are saying the pastor should stand up and defend what? Defend an Atukwa container. Defend an Atwaya. You have nothing to defend if majority of your organizations, if the majority of your institutions are filled with corrupt people. You should focus on how you can fix the church and how you can have certain individuals who knows what righteousness is, how you can change the narration of the church, how you can deliver the church. But I know they say workshop. What is the meaning of workshop? They say now where man they work, now there in they take shop. If you know the meaning of shop in Africa, it simply means eat. So workshop is where a man work, and that is where he feed from. That's what they call workshop. So if you are defending such a thing, I wouldn't blame you, because you are doing it because you are making money from it. If your pastors or your members stop paying you offerings and tithe and the rest of it, how long will you decide to even do the work of God? Look at the big auditorium. Anytime there's a church that has so much big auditorium and the rest of it, I'm like, is this what God actually asked you guys to even be doing? Is it about this flamboyant stuff? Maybe I could be wrong, because they said King Solomon built a particular big auditorium and the rest of it where the people come to worship and the rest of it. But I'm like, at least in the time of Solomon, there was peace. At least in the time of Solomon, there was no famine in the land. So maybe possibly he has taken care of his people before he decided to focus on the church. Unlike we in Africa, Taraba is fighting, Yenegua is fighting, Benin are fighting, Ijo are fighting. Everywhere they are protesting everything, and you all keep building churches after churches. If you move from one building to another, you're going to find other churches. You build churches are everywhere in every corner. In fact, churches are more than restaurants in Nigeria. There is no enough restaurants as there are excessive church in Nigeria. Beer parlor is not up to Nigerian churches. So what the hell are they talking about? Shouldn't we close some of it? At least if I go to beer parlor, you spend your money and you drink something. But when you pay to the church, what did you gain for spending the money? The peace of the Lord is with you. Bring money, come and buy the soap that is going to deliver you. And at the end of the day, you are extorting people. A lot of people in diaspora support a lot of churches that I don't know. They just find a way because they cannot think for themselves. They don't understand what consciousness means. They cannot create a different society of people that they can encourage themselves, or they can be each other brother. And you just throw the money to church and to pastor so that you will be recognized. Most offering and tithe that people pay, all this house development of the church development of the house, all those narration is just to show what does not even concern anybody, to prove to people that you have arrived. Imagine YouTube pay me 10 million naira. I've not been to church for 20 years, or maybe 20 years. Now I would now decide to go to church and go and show them 50 million and tell them I've arrived. I want to give my tithe to God. Nigeria, if this country will progress, church needs to be banned, in my opinion. Before I move to the last one, that has to do with lawyers running from marriage in Africa right now, I would read out some charts before I proceed to the last one. And in the chart, I think I have to start with Toby and Tribe. Toby and Tribe says that, could it be that the Igbo's culture is more of an entrepreneur? Why is this thing cleaning when I'm speaking? Let's go again. Is an entrepreneur one, and the other cultures perhaps lean more towards socialist mindset? This your question is big. Could it be that the Igbo is more of an entrepreneur? One, and the other cultures perhaps lean more towards socialist mindset? You're right, kind of. Trust me, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. A lot of religion, a lot of culture, a lot of tribes in Nigeria are mostly on the social part. And what does that mean that they have social mindset? For example, let us look at the traditions of the Yorubas, for example. We celebrate a lot. We party a lot. Now, if I don't tell you that I'm a Yoruba, most likely you wouldn't know. A lot of people cannot even see me and tell me that I'm a Yoruba. But regardless, I am. I am proud of being a Yoruba, but I know what is wrong with the Yorubas. Most of them are not productive. They are not productive enough. And they wonder why the Igbos are so successful. And this is it. We have stripped, according to Nigeria, we have stripped away every way for the Igbos to succeed, yet they are the most successful people. So according to what you say, they actually have the entrepreneur mindset. In another sense, there are certain things that could be negative with the Igbos too. I'm not saying they're perfectly holy, but I'm like, why do we call it one nation, and why do we have to deprive another tribe a way for them to become successful or to flourish? Why we ourselves are not even doing anything to help the economy? Look at vast land that the Yorubas have. We have vast land. I wish I can make more money and just buy a lot of lands in this place. You're going to see people who just keep selling their land. There is a man that I know within this community that I'm talking about, outside the estate that I reside in. This man, his father left him with more than 400 acres. He sold everything. Now they don't have up to 2 acres from 2018 till now. Sell. And then when he makes the money, he goes to another place to sleep with one lady. He goes to marry this person, marry this one, marry that one. And this is just the average mindset of a Yoruba that is not educated. Even the educated ones are doing it. But an Igbo man, yes, an Igbo man will carry a lady, young lady, and they will do some things regardless of the fact that he's married, but he takes his business very serious. And so they are unique in certain things that they do. They are so business oriented. They want to sell anything. Whatever an Igbo sees is thinking on how to sell. So that is what I think. You're very right. The Hausas on their own. Let me leave those people for another day. Those people are not stories you want to go through, because Nigeria is hot right now. The Hausas, let me leave them, let them be at the moment. The next thing, Abia the best is showing me, okay, love and the rest of it. Thank you. Toby and Tribe says it might be more difficult for the Igbos to be politically motivated because their culture is more driven by entrepreneurship. Oh, that's not true, actually. They want to be into politics, but most likely it is more like impossible for an Igbo to become a president. It is, they have to let them become governors, but for them to be able to rule Nigeria, to go have real political career that goes beyond governor and the rest. So there's something that is being set. There's a barrier that is being set against the Igbos. And if we want this country to flourish, Nigeria specifically, in the way I see it, we have to treat each other equally. That is only how things work in any sane country. Sometimes we preach things that we don't practice. So there are many churches, there are many nations that will tell you equality, but they are not really equal. But I think when it starts coming to tribes and the rest of it, we are going to find ourselves in certain situations right now. Like, for example, we are protesting and the Igbos decide not to protest because they understand that if they had stood up to protest, they most likely would have been dealt with, and the government would have even avoided the Northerners and the Westerners. So I don't think they are not politically motivated. I think they are more politically motivated, but they are not given the chance. So there's a barrier against them. Igwe Abia the best is Igwe King, not businessman. We are Biafrans, have it all. He said, if you ban church, I give you just 1 week. Remember, though, thou shalt not kill is from the church. If you ban church, God that that society will dissolve like salt. If you ban church, stop saying nonsense. That's what Abia the Best was able to come up with. Let me see if there's any other thing. Imo, the only way African can be back to their roots. This is Hood That Truth. It says, Imo, the only way Africa can be back to their roots is our ancient kingship pattern because we are kings and queens. Um, you know, if I have to go into what Abia the Best is saying, he has his point. He thinks that culture would dissolve or the world would dissolve without religion. And every time people talk about these things, I only ask a question. What do you know about history? How was the world operating before religion was being brought in? Do you understand anything about how your country was being fixed? How you got your independence? How you flourish as people? Do you understand these things or are you just biblically inclined? Sometimes you can be intelligent in one way and you might be ignorant in many ways. I may not necessarily need to advocate that they ban church, but I would say this. What is the benefit of the church? If Abia the Best is on live right now, can you tell me 20 or 10 benefits of the church in Nigeria specifically? I'm not talking about other places because in Western countries, it might be useful to them. They might have the way they have their brothers back. In other places, it might be useful in many countries. But in Nigeria, how can we have more churches than beer parlor? How can we have more churches than restaurants? And despite the fact we have these churches, look at our protests. Look at the morality of the people. Look at our governors. Look at our leaders. What is the work of the church? And what has the church been able to successfully do in this country called Nigeria? Why is it that when you talk about the Western countries and you tell anybody in the Western place to come to Nigeria, they have an unconscious fear inside of their head because they have an idea that this place is dangerous? How come do we have so many churches and the place is still dangerous in the mentality of other people? It's a question I'm raising to Abia the Best. Name 10 things that the church are doing that is beneficial to the society of Nigeria or that is helping Nigerians to exist or to cohabitate in doing something positive. Oh yeah, how many minutes do you want? It's so unfortunate that reading has become a tragedy to a lot of people, in a sense that there's a saying that goes this way: the best place to hide something from a black man is in the book, because a black man would never open book to read. If you hide anything in this house or in a place, a black man can search anywhere and they will find it out. But if you hide it in a book, they will most likely open book. Black man brain don't go to book, most likely. So if you understand your history, that means you have most likely opened the book to read. You understand your culture, then when you are reading history, questions begins to pop up in your mind. They did not need to do any brain setting for anybody. Things begin to pop up in your mind. And when you start having questions and you understand the history of your people, when I focus on reading about the history of Nigeria, I focus on the history of the Yorubas. I read about the Igbos, I read about the Westerners, but I focus on the Yorubas because that is my own origin. That is where I come from. That is my own official route. I need to know many things. As much as many information I can get, I must do my due diligence to know why I think the way I think. And in that way, I've been able to liberate myself not to think like every other Yorubas. So if you are being indoctrinated by a religion, so be it. If you think that if a church goes out and the world is going to crumble, so when you say someone is saying nonsense and the rest of it, I'm like, what work have you done to be able to get those information to even come to that point to say that if there are no church, the society will be good? I even think that there shouldn't be church. Let us even see what will happen. Because now that there's churches in Nigeria, we have seen what would happen. That means there's more corruption, there nothing good is going on, pastors are lying, extorting a lot of people. This is what churches are. Why not we try removing churches first and see maybe something else will happen? Maybe Nigerians will be worse, or Nigerians will improve to be better people. Can you tell me that there's no culture and tradition in every church that you go to? If there's culture and tradition, what is the religion trying to turn you into? To have the culture and tradition of what? The Israelites. Are you the Israelites? Look at the Northerners. How the Northerners are acting over there. How they are burning. We are still having peaceful protests in Lagos and in some other areas. The Northerners are acting differently. Why? The religious leaders. When a religious leaders in the Muslim area, when a religious leaders in the Northerners tell their people to go, they hear go, they did not hear come. Indoctrination. Their leader have screwed their brain. So why not we just give everybody education? I did not say ban the Bible. If you want to read the Bible is very useful. I have one of the big, look at it. You think when I talk about church, I am playing or the rest of it? Question of the day. Mr. Abia the best. Look at my Bible here. This is a Bible. It has both Yoruba and an English version. This is my Bible. This thing is very heavy. So do you think I don't read Bible? Or do you think that the intentions of reading my Bible is so that I can condemn the church? I said I've read Genesis to Revelation 7 times. What do you think is the reason behind a man reading Genesis to Revelation 7 times? The Bible says you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. Are you people free? Are pastors not extorting you? Do you know the purpose behind tithe and offering, apart from what your pastors tell you? And now you want to attack me just because I'm the one on camera. Sorry. If we have to debate this and I have to bring you to life and we need to have a discussion on this, you have to be very prepared. Because then I can dive you deep into the waters that you most likely have never experienced about religion. And then I tell you, when we are done, you are the one who would first of all start doing some things to certain churches when you see the reality. I know statements that I don't need to bring or stories I don't need to bring on YouTube, because most of the words I say sometimes when I use certain statements, YouTube is angry that I say those statements, so I keep it. But I wouldn't mind if you want to come. I know that particular edition is just for us to educate ourselves. I do not care about the money if they don't pay me the money on it. But when we finish talking, see where your mind will be when it comes to the religion that is being practiced in Nigeria. That aside, lastly, any questions can also be raised and the rest of it. Lastly, lawyers in Nigeria. Lawyers, most likely in Africa, most lawyers are avoiding marriage. Now, how do I know this? I have seen too many lawyers, many male lawyers in Nigeria, in Africa. I've seen a lot of people that whenever you question them and it has to do with marriage, they don't want to have marriage. In fact, I watched a particular episode and they were asking the individual, they said, Mr. Man, how many wives would you prefer to marry? He's a lawyer. He said none. How many women would you decide to marry? He said none. He said he most likely would prefer to just have a relationship with people with ladies, but he wouldn't want to be married to them. I think the government need to step aside from marriage too. The reason why a lot of families are broken are because of two good reasons: the church and the government. Imagine I say I'm married and I want to travel out of the country or something like that. I have to carry a certificate that I'm married, because somebody might lie that they have been married to this person. Who cannot forge certificate? Even if you don't forge certificate, I can still make a decision to claim and to make a deal with someone that I am getting married to you, and at the end of the day, it's just going to be a settlement and something like that, and we are not married in any way. Can we truly be engaged in love simply because we sign a document? How does that reside in the mentality of marriage? Then you say, oh, you're trying to protect the rights of the woman. That is the only reason why there's what we call, what do they call it? Have I forgotten? Can somebody remind me? If a man dies and wants to give his inheritance to their children and his wife and the rest of it, what do they call that particular document? Oh, my brain has flushed out. But there is a document. If anyone reminds me, that will be fine. But there are documents you can have that will show that you are actually married to a person. Oh, sorry, that shows that that person would have your inheritance, either your child and the rest of it. Those are the things that should be upheld by the law. Those are the things the government should be able to hold accountable. When a man wants to quench, or a man officially goes to the Lord, he should have a document that is being set that this document is for my family. My wife so name should be able to have this property and that property, and my children, my daughter or my son should have this. This is how they should split my inheritance. Not that the government will say, for you to get married, come and have one certificate. Certificate does not keep any relationship. In fact, it has become a reason why a lot of divorce is going on, mostly in the Black community. In what sense? Some people knows that divorcing their husband is going to fetch them some money. And then, if I am going to make money from separating from you, why not make the money? So the government are not helping in any way. That's just my opinion. And the churches, when you go, you know, I had a conversation with one of my big brother today, on Mr. Ima, and we touched on a lot of things. And part of the things we were able to discuss on was the idea of the impact of churches in marriage. And I asked him a question. I said, why is it that there are a lot of population of women in the church than men? And he made the words to make it clear that it's basically because women are more easily manipulated by the church, and that speaks for itself. So why are men stepping out of church? Because during the time I used to go to church, men were going to the church, but after I start stepping out from the church, men are stepping out of the church. What are men seeing? I think what drove me out of church was because I began to see too many lies. And you can't keep lying and lying and lying and lying, and you think that, oh, I should go because of my own salvation. Your attitude is discouraging me from me to be able to focus on God. And if you can't put yourself together as a church, why should I want to associate myself with where there is no peace, where there's lies, where there's a lot of adultery, fornication, and things that are just completely... You shouldn't expect that from me. And so I step away from church, and a lot of men see the same thing and they walk away from church. And now you want to say that pastors are helping women. And in fact, let us even ask ourselves those questions. Which I threw that question to him. I was like, why is it that when we go to a lot of churches, you would realize that pastors would give widows things, but they don't give the men who lose their wife, they don't give those men gifts, but they give women who lose their husband, they give them gifts. What are you showing? You are saying we are one in the sight of the Lord, but you are choosing one people to care for more than the other person when there's even equality in the nation. What is the purpose of it? So in a nutshell, I think with today's episode, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that every news I have brought out today is bagam. Hope you have learned something. Any questions? If there's none, I'll be giving out 1 minute. I think I've touched on Pastor Jeremiah, which God spoke to him through Big Brother Niger Voices. I talk about Alex Pereira. I talk about the Igbos. I talk about for avoiding fake real estate. I spoke about Regina Daniels, Femi Lazarus, and lawyers. With that being said, I might be joining later today. I might be coming back by 8 or 9 p.m. today. I don't know. If I can, then I'll be working tomorrow because right now I have certain things I need to round up. But that's the news for today. I am done with my storytelling. Have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel. What else? Thank you. Bye bye for now.